We're thinking of Alonso.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the April 7th regular meeting of the Louis Riel School Division Board of Trustees to order at 6:34 this evening. We begin with the land acknowledgement by trustee Nordheim.
Thank you. The Louis Riel School Division brings together a community of schools on the traditional.
Good job.
When things are really well done, we like to do them. I will start again. The Louis Riel School Division brings together a community of schools on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, Anindiwak, and Dakota. Our division is located on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize that Manitoba is also the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and Dene. We respect the treaties made on this land and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and present. We dedicate ourselves to authentic alliances with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. We recognize and honor Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's life-sustaining drinking water, as well as the treaty territories that generate and provide the electricity that powers daily activity throughout the province and beyond.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Those of you who are joining online and also in the room to our meeting this evening. Just so that you're aware, we do have a 15-minute question period at the end of the meeting where you can ask questions of clarification on any of the items that we've had are on the agenda. If your questions aren't agenda related, you can email the division at info@lrsd.net and we will be happy to provide the information you seek. We always have folks that are willing to, trustees or senior staff that are willing to stay behind for a few minutes if you've got any questions. We do record our board meetings to ensure that our minutes are accurate. We don't permit recordings or photographs unless that's been okayed in advance. So we thank you for respecting that. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong leaders who contribute to a democratic and sustainable world. And our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. First order of business is to approve the agenda for the regular board meeting this evening, April 7th. I need a mover and a seconder. Trustee Simoniola, second. Trustee Kolachuk. Any changes to Trustee Sigurdsson?
I have a concern about the agenda that we had I'm not going to hold up the meeting. We did have a notice of motion that was seconded in the proper manner according to our by trustees, according to our rules, and it's not on the agenda. I'm not going to hold it up this time, but I think I want to express my concern that if the motion is resubmitted and not approved, not put on the next agenda, I would certainly have difficulty approving that agenda.
Okay. Just to offer some clarity for the folks in the room that may not be aware of our process. When we use a notice of motion to make significant changes to policies or to bylaws. That's how it's articulated in our board bylaws. So when a notice of motion is brought forward, if it doesn't address a change to policy, if it doesn't address a change to bylaw, and if it is not something substantive like that in nature, then it wouldn't come forward as a notice of motion. We would we would take the opportunity to have a conversation as a board about what the intent was behind the notice of motion. And once that was done, if a motion came out of that we would bring to the board, you would see it on an agenda. So that is our process as defined in our board bylaws, and that will continue to be our process until such time that the Public Schools Act or our bylaws are changed.
Really bad interpretation, but I'll leave it at that.
So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Next item, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you can go. There we go.
Next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting from March 17th. Those minutes were circulated in advance. I wasn't made aware that there were any errors or omissions, so we will accept those as they were circulated. LRSD news, this evening news from the Board of Trustees provided by Trustee Kolinchuk.
Thank you, Chair. So I am obviously providing news. I hope everyone had a great spring break. Prior to spring break, I was able to attend or be part of Mean Girls at JH Bruns. My daughter Brooke and I attended and saw Trustee Nemeth there as well. I know she reported on as well, but I wanted to bring attention to some of the other things that happened at Bruns, kind of surrounding the Mean Girls show that they put on. So they had Pink Shirt Day. They also had a week of kindness, which included a kindness card and an open message board posted outside of the office to spread positivity and encouragement. And then they're also having Pink Shirt Day again tomorrow. So I think it's really good opportunity it was a really good show to provide insight into what's going on in schools, especially for kids. I wanted to remind everyone that there's a lot of fundraising activities happening right now for graduation and school initiatives in our communities. Dakota High School is raising fund, or they're raising money, but also looking for prizes to put as part of their event that they're holding. So if anybody wants to make donations to that. I also wanted to bring attention to the ASCB Playground Initiative, where they are raising $500,000 for the new playground. This will open in September 1st without a playground. They do have a bunch of different options to support their new playground that you can find online. They have a really good page online that has all the information on there. They have a 50-50 that, well, as of last week, it was at $9,675. So hopefully it's over 10. With the winner getting 40%, draws on April 17th. And they're also selling Glenlee greenhouse plants. It's a great way to get your plants all delivered to one place. You don't have to do the shopping, just online, and it supports a local community initiative that is very much in need of a playground because it's pretty gross out there right now with everything melting. I'm also proud to say that I was able to attend Descartes Guillot for a day and that they participated in the Canadian Agriculture Literacy Month, CALM. So as a French speaking individual, and French is my first language, they have a need for people to go into French classrooms, especially in LRSD, to help with CALM. So I was part of Madame Bisson's class, Madame Hamilton's class, and Madame Curie's class of grade 3-4s. So when we talked about where food comes from, what they can do with it, what's local to Manitoba. And it was a lot of fun because it's been a long time since I spent the entire day speaking solely in French. And it was fun for them to touch and smell and ask lots of questions, especially vegetables have the weirdest names in French. So it's always fun when we do translations. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. News from senior leadership this evening from Assistant Superintendent Gunther.
We will start at St. George this evening. So we're a number of Glen Lawn students supported students at St. George with literacy. I'm going to email.
So it's always fun when we do translations.
Glen Lawn
So,
students.
yeah.
So I'm sending this
Thank you
email
very
to
much.
commend the amazing
News from
Glen Lawn
senior
students
leadership this
who joined
evening
us at
from
St. George
Assistant
and
Superintendent
yesterday.
Gunther.
There were over 20 volunteers who We will arrived start at St. promptly George this evening. and excited we're a number of Glen Lawn with students 15 supported St. George students at St. George grade with 5 and literacy. 6. I'm going to They read silly stories,
It's
deep
always
stories,
fun
and
when
stories
we
that provide a
do
window into
translation.
Glenlawn's lives.
Yeah.
They answered questions. So I'm sending this
Thank you
email
very
to
much.
commend the amazing
News from
Glenlawn
senior
students
leadership this
who
evening
represented
from
the best
Assistant
in
Superintendent
Manitoba.
Gunther.
There were over 20 volunteers who will start showing up convinced. So we're a number of Glenlawn's 15 St. George students. I also appreciated that so many of them were. I'm going to read silly stories,
It's
deep
always
stories,
fun
and
when
stories
we
that are
do
written
translation.
What a great day. They answered questions. So I'm sending this
Thank you
email
very
to
much.
commend the amazing
News from senior
Glenlawn
leadership
students
this
who
evening
represented
from
the best
Assistant
in
Superintendent
Manitoba.
Gunther.
Leadership, over 20 volunteers one another will start showing up convinced. So we're a number of Glenlawn's 15 St. George students. I also appreciated that so many of them were Samuel Burns School. Silly stories offer engaging real world learning opportunities. What a great day. They answered questions. So I'm sending this
Thank you
email
very
to
much.
commend the amazing
News from senior leadership
school
this
host for
evening
represented
from
the best
Assistant
in
Superintendent
Manitoba's
Gunther.
leadership. Over 20 volunteers one another who designed and tested so we're a number of Glenlawn's blue. This hands-on and challenge promoted so Samuel Burns School. Silly stories offer engaging video real world learning opportunities. What a great day. Feature students. So I'm sending this
Thank you
email
very much.
and the amazing
News from senior leadership
school
this
host for
evening
represented
from
the best
Assistant
in
Superintendent
Manitoba's
Gunther.
leadership. Over 20 volunteers one another who designed and tested so we're a number of this hands-on and challenge promoted so Samuel Burns School. Silly stories offer engaging video real world learning opportunities. Feature students. So I'm sending this email and the amazing
Senior leadership this evening from Assistant Superintendent Gunther.
Samuel Burns School.
Item 4 is committee reports. We have one report this evening, and that is from trustee Bjornson regarding the Re-Elevate Endowment Fund.
Yes, well, it's certainly been a journey, trying to find individuals who would be prepared to serve on the Re-Elevate Development Committee. That said, trustee Sigurdsson was very prepared to sit as a member, and the first community member who's agreed to be the community chair is Kirk Knight. Kirk Knight is a LRSD family. And all of his kids went to school in Dakota. He has 2 sons and a daughter who are the same age as my 2 sons and my daughter, so very well from various sports and events. So Kirk has agreed to be the community member of the Re-Elevate Fund, and he'll bring a lot of expertise to the table, as he's had quite a career in sales and marketing and whatnot. So we'll continue to look for more members, and I guess it's time we'd have to make a motion to.
Yep.
So I would move that we do so, that we appoint trustee Sigurdsson as a committee member of the Re-Elevate Development Fund Committee for a 2-year term effective immediately, and Kirk Knight to be appointed as the co-chair of the Re-Elevate Development Fund for a 2-year term effective immediately.
Okay, so then the recommendation is that trustee Sigurdsson be a trustee committee member of the Re-Elevate Endowment Fund Committee for a 2-year term effective immediately, and that Kirk Knight be appointed as a committee member and co-chair of the Re-Elevate Endowment Fund Committee, also for a 2-year term effective immediately. You are moving. I need a seconder, please. Trustee Walker, any questions for trustee Bjornson on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? And that motion is carried. Thank you. Was there a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did have a question, just because like we're doing this for and I support, like, I'm voting yes. I support trustee Sigurdsson being on. I'm just saying, we're going into general election on October 26th, and we're saying a 2-year term.
Yep.
For I don't know how the process are. Do we still go ahead and just assume 2 years and then we don't come back? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so I believe the motion carried. Trustee Kolachek and trustee Palmquist to vote.
Forgive me, I had to close everything because I had an audio issue, but I,
Alright, and the
yes.
motion is carried then. Thank you. Oh. Trustee Palmquist, do you want to just raise your hand if you're voting in favor or what, or mute?
Yeah, sorry, and I had to close
Yes,
everything because I had an
raised
audio
there.
problem, but I'm voting yes.
Trustee Palmquist, do you have a question or are you voting in favor? Sorry.
Just voting in favor. I thought he said to
Can't hear
raise.
you.
hand. Can't hear me?
Can't hear you.
Let's go like this. There we go.
Semaphore sign language, writing on a piece of paper. Right. So the motion is carried then. Thank you regardless. Thank you, trustee Bjornson, for bringing the report, to trustee Sigurdsson for joining, to Mr. Knight as well for joining. And if there's anybody in the room or listening who is interested in being a part of the Re-Elevate Endowment Fund Committee, you can see trustee Bjornson after the meeting. Staffing updates to the superintendent for some information.
Well, I want to start by speaking to the recommendation that the board, well, and it isn't coming to you as a motion, actually, it's coming to you as information that Kelsey Lanigan to a new role effective August 1st. She's presently a divisional vice principal, and beginning in August, she will serve as divisional Indigenous leader. I've worked closely with Kelsey and I trust deeply in her work and this work that she'll be taking on. She will carry this new responsibility as a knowledge keeper. And confident that she will bring a great deal to the role. She will bring the role and title to ceremony. The work is supported by the province's Elders and Knowledge Keepers in School initiative, guided by provincial expectations around relationship and protocol. And this work matters a great deal to us on senior leadership. It's about doing it with integrity, respect, and we have appointed another individual to a management position that I'll have Assistant Superintendent speak to.
Yes, we're pleased to announce that Randine Commission has been appointed Manager of Transportation. Randine replaces Burko Kranick, who retired in February. Randine joins us from First Student, where she held a position as well.
Thank you. Trustees, any questions on either positions? Seeing none, item 5.2, appointments of the acting principal and vice principal.
Yes. So, due to an unforeseen absence at Glenwood School, we've asked Jennifer Sloan, who's the vice principal at Frontenac School, to step in as acting principal, effective immediately. And given Jennifer moving from Frontenac to Glenwood as acting principal, we have asked Tanya Stokotelny to, we're recommending we appoint Tanya to the acting vice principal role at Frontenac. Tanya is on the school and classroom support team. Last year was a student services teacher at Frontenac School.
Okay, so the recommendation is that the board appoint the following acting positions effective immediately. Jennifer Sloan as acting principal at Glenwood School and Tanya Stokotelny as acting vice principal at Frontenac School. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by trustee Kolachek, second trustee Turner. Any questions, trustees, on either of these? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. Under item 6, chair information to the board, there's one item, and that is related to the Manitoba School Boards Association convention that took place last month. Attendance by trustees at this convention is supported by our development allotment, and as such, part of that includes a reporting out at a regular meeting. Trustees Simonyola, Nordheim, Bjornson, Sigurdsson, Palmquist, and myself attended all or a portion of the 2 days of professional learning and the AGM. And so I'm going to just loop around the room and offer you the opportunity to provide some takeaways or gleanings as you may wish to share. Trustee Simonyola, would you mind starting? Oh, sorry.
And then
Yeah, I mentioned trustee Palmquist. Oh. Related to this or related to the previous one? Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, I attended the second day. I think the part that I wanted to share is that I attended a session around a branch that the government has put together around the emergency responses, and maybe it has to do with what we went through with the fires, but that branch will be dealing with emergency practices for different types of emergencies, including health or flooding or whatever. They are putting together a template that they're advising schools to follow, and they have this department that people can call for support. And I think that's going to be important not only for Metro Division to have a centralized support, but also for school division outside of Winnipeg for what we've seen in recent years. So it was good to go through something that's the government's put together that's new. There's nothing policy related that we can expect to come in the interim. I think there's still some work that's happening there. So from us as a board, that work is forthcoming. But I thought it was great session to be part of something that the the government is trying out that's going to help our work here, but also support the community in mental violence.
Thank you very much. Trustee Bjornson?
I thought it was a very, it was an excellent, conference, and as a first timer to have the opportunity to hear, both David Robertson start the session, John Sinclair, and the conference, with their commitments to, or challenging us to have those difficult conversations as part of our commitment to reconciliation. And the stories and their presentations are absolutely fantastic, and I've had the privilege of hearing both of them speak on many before, but it's not something I ever get tired of listening to them speak. It was excellent presentations. As far as the breakout sessions, I attended the FIPA and FIA session, see what was new in the wonderful world of FIPA and FIA. Favorite pieces of legislation. It was actually, to the credit of the presenter, he did an amazing job taking a very dry topic and really engaging the trustees in those discussions. Also a panel on leaving the board stronger than you found it, where we were reminded that our voice matters and that it's important that we I've taken a few minutes on that one, talking about the importance of public trust mattering more than anything, and the need to be accountable and intentional in our thoughts and what we do create the board culture that we work towards. So it was really, I thought it was really interesting because I was one of the new faces at the table, and there were a lot of trustees from there who had spent many years trustees. So and perhaps I will be gone in October, who knows? But it was an interesting presentation, and also networking with a lot of trustees, hearing their what their budget process was like, what some of their concerns were about our roles, and be part of some interesting discussions moving forward, I would think, as we compare notes with other boards and how they operate, and picked up some interesting ideas that perhaps we'll have an opportunity to discuss in future meetings.
Thank you very much. Trustee Sigurdsson?
Yes, again, it was a very interesting conference. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I missed most of the second day work requirements that came up unexpectedly, but I was able to. The first day, I was extremely impressed by the morning keynote speaker, Mr. Robinson. By odd coincidence, I'd actually read his novel, but did not common name, and I hadn't put two and two together till he was speaking and talking about his novel. So I was a fan of him without even realizing it. But he was a very insightful speaker. It's my favorite part of these conferences is meeting again many colleagues from all the various divisions and having informal chats about how we do things and how we're getting along. There certainly were in the evening and the dinner, we had the long service awards, and impressed by the number of people who've been on various boards for quite some time. The dedication and the accrued knowledge of the folks in that room was quite impressive, as well as the newcomers. It's a good balance. The new people who were just coming into it, who were eager to learn. So all in all, it was a good experience, and glad I had a chance to be part of it.
Thank you. Trustee Palmquist?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to quickly say I was
We
mainly.
can't hear you.
See you.
You still can't hear me, hey?
No, we're good now.
You know.
Oh, okay, great. I wanted to say I mainly attended the resolutions portion. I was able to get away from to be able to participate in, and I found that to be a very engaging experience compared to a lot of conferences I've attended before where there's
looping.
okay. I might just share my feedback in writing with the board later. I've had some audio issues all
There we
day.
go. Oh, apparently we're okay now.
No,
No, we're
No,
not.
we're not?
I haven't solved the problem. what you have to do is.
It's okay.
go off the YouTube
It's okay. Don't worry. I'll send my thoughts by email and share some stuff later.
Okay, we're gonna, oh, did we lose them altogether?
No,
They'll try,
he'll come back.
they'll try it, Ryan.
Okay, can I see the little green?
Yes, perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you. I wanted to say that I was very happy that the resolution I put forward with support of our board from Region 5 concerning traffic safety and lobby asking appropriate provincial and municipal governments to engage with divisions as a primary road safety stakeholder was adopted. Should give a special thank you to Trustee Nemeth, who spoke up and with a lot of historical knowledge of past motions and MSBA work was able to, I suppose, rebut a concern that was brought forward about my resolution. And so I was very grateful for that. Thank you, Sandy. And further, I am interested in having a conversation about next steps and looking for some guidance, perhaps, of how to take a successfully adopted resolution and move it forward into further action. So I hope to I'll reach out in the near future to talk about that, and just wanted to say thank you all around to the board and to Sandy in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nordheim.
Well, I think partly in answer to your request, Ryan, I think it would be coming to me as I was elected as Region 5 Director. Thank you. To be on the MSBA executive. So that was, I'm very grateful for that opportunity again. But I think Ryan, as a member of the executive and from our region with that resolution, that will be part of our work on the executive, so I can continue to keep you informed and take information from you. So that's, I think, the next steps. I do want to say that being a member of the executive has given me a much greater opportunity to learn about board work. And also to say that the staff and the executive have certainly informed me in this role this year in terms of the advice and direction that they give, which we pay membership fees for. And so I would say that our board is getting their money's worth this year, and that's really helpful and has been a real education for me. So I appreciate that. I did attend some of the same sessions that were brought up, but I do want to speak to and learning from the land opportunity that was brought to us from one of the rural school divisions. And I was really interested to hear about their grade 7 and 8 hunting sessions that they do with actual guns and arrows, and the excitement and the ice fishing and the just, it's a very holistic Indigenous experience for a lot of these kids. As an old person who has filled in a lot of safety forms along the way for field trips, it did give me a moment of pause to think, my goodness, I'm not sure that that would be occurring, but I can't think of a better education opportunity for kids who are living in that kind of geography, and the opportunity that they have to have cultural understandings that go along with the learning from the land. So it was really, really exciting to hear. And I had asked if we could clone the physical education teacher who was speaking to that, because my gosh, he could set the world on fire. I'm just so impressed with that kind of enthusiasm when I see it. That was a highlight for me, for sure.
Right. I will share that I was in attendance as well, and in addition to the traffic safety and school zone resolution that was passed by the membership, there were two other resolutions that originated around this table One that called for a comprehensive review of the Public Schools Act and another that called for a review of the School Partnerships Guide for Parents, Schools and Communities. So those had advanced to our regional meeting. Region 5-6 saw value in them and sent them to convention floor. And as Ryan has suggested, along with these other two, all three were carried by the membership and now sit with the Provincial Association for advancement. The other piece that was part of the evening event and was a celebration of a full day of lots of work, was recognition of years of service. And Trustee Sigurdsson and I received acknowledgement for 16 years of service, and Trustee Turner received acknowledgement for 12 years of service. So it was a full night, lots of accolades all around, and then a full day of learning, which was has already been shared, was a lot about networking, sharing best practices, supporting member boards, maybe with some advice and experiences that others were having, and just as usual, everybody I think left feeling quite happy. I'm also going to acknowledge 3 students out of Glenlawn Collegiate who donated original pieces of artwork to the charity silent auction that we have every year. This year, the association decided to support Cancer Care Manitoba, and all the proceeds from the silent auction went there. It was the best year in the history of our convention, with over $4,200 being raised. So the fact that LRSD was on display and that we had 3 students who contributed to that success was pretty spectacular, and I am very grateful to them for their generosity. Item 7 then is senior leadership team information to the board. We have 2 items. The first one is on capital projects. The second one is our student accident semi-annual report. So I'll turn to the superintendent.
Yeah, just a quick update tonight. I'll ask Secretary Treasurer Whitney to put up the report that the board sees every month. And what is in red is what is new. So overall, things are moving along steadily with a mix of provincial projects, and most of those provincial projects are progressing to design, but some are moving to construction, and a lot of divisional work is now almost complete. So on the provincial side, Island Lakes Community School, we see the portables are fully permitted now, which is good news. Work at Shamrock School on the building envelope is progressing well. And at J.H. Bruns Collegiate, we are in design and planning stages. And so the timing of moving from design to actual construction will depend on provincial approvals. So across the division, we've completed a significant number of smaller but projects that are locally funded. Things like accessibility improvements at washrooms, flooring, lighting, learning space upgrades. The focus of safety, functionality, and day learning. I do want to note that École Howden's kindergarten renovation is paused right now due to the 26-27 budget constraints. But it remains planned, and as soon as funding allows, we can revisit that. So overall, capital work is stable and well managed, and there's nothing really tonight that requires board direction. Happy to take a question.
Right, seeing none, the semi-annual accident report.
Thank you, that would be me. And so this is the student accident report from September 1st, 2025 to March 23rd, 2026, as reported to our insurer, Hub Insurance. And so we have a total of minor incidences of 205. For moderate incidents, we have 107. And for severe, we have 38 for a total of 350 incidences. Of these incidences, we have a total of 3 involving vehicles and children. So how we classify minor, moderate, and severe is for minor injuries. This could result in scratch, bruises, scrapes, minor cuts, and minor sprains. Moderate incidences could result in more serious cuts, severe sprains, and then severe incidences could involve any broken bones, injuries to the face, eyes, or back. And so the process for reporting is when an injury occurs on divisional property, it gets reported through the portal from our school, from the schools at the school source, and then we receive a report on a semi-annual basis on the incidences. And so that's what I have to report for this period.
Trustees, any questions on this item? All right, seeing none, we will move to policy. We have a couple of policies to visit today. First reading for policy AB, land and treaty acknowledgement, superintendent to assistant superintendent.
Thank you. Policy AB, Treaty and Land Acknowledgement, comes before you this evening for first reading. The policy affirms existing divisional practices related to land and treaty acknowledgements in schools and emphasizes reflection and action rather than routine recitation. The policy will ensure that LRSD meets forthcoming requirements under the Public Schools Act, which enter into effect September 1st. An initial policy draft developed by Divisional Vice President Monahan, Divisional Principal Major, and Assistant Superintendent Cora Kapeluk and myself was thoughtfully reviewed by members of the Council of Grandparents at their March 24th gathering. Their recommended changes have been incorporated into the draft before you this evening. Next steps in the policy development process will include seeking feedback from the broader divisional community, including the Student Advisory Council and Indigenous youth leadership. The policy will return for second and third reading prior to the end of the school year.
So the recommendation is that policy AB, land and treaty acknowledgement, reviewed by the Policy Review Committee, receive first reading this evening and be further reviewed in committee and brought back for second and third reading dates. I need a seconder, please. Trustee Turner. Seconder, Trustee Bjornson. Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Thank you. Next one is revisions to policy IJNDC.
Yes, thank you. Policy IJNDC is our Internet and Systems Use Policy, and it is supported by the Intimate Image Protocol. This protocol was developed by the school division in January of 2025, with training provided for employees at the monthly staff meeting. Since that time, the Manitoba School Boards Association has developed and shared a template document addressing the same question. This evening, we are presenting an updated version of our Intimate Image Protocol that integrates the MSBA recommendations. The updated protocol presents mandatory step-by-step procedures that employees must follow should they receive an intimate image. The protocol ensures compliance with the Criminal Code of Canada, preserves evidence, and reduces the risk of further harm or legal liability.
So this doesn't require a motion then because it is direction from?
Because it is administrative.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just
Supports the policy.
all right. Just looking for clarity. Any questions on this item? Trustee Bjornson?
Just with respect to step 3 in securing the device, talks about what happens during power off, et cetera, but the whole action of securing the device should the student be in possession of the cell phone with that image. How would we afford protections to the teachers who might get involved in a bit of a tug of war to acquire that? I mean, they're securing the device is fine, but
So this is talking about when an employee receives an intimate on their device, not when a student receives an intimate image.
we have one that covers the students. receiving it.
The students receiving an intimate the same would apply. The student would be directed to shut down their device so that the image can't be forwarded or subsequently viewed. And it would be important to note that it's when an intimate image is received, you don't want other people seeing it unnecessarily. So that is why the protocol has been adopted to shut it down, seek supervisory direction, and consult with legal counsel.
No, which is great to see. I'm just wondering, do we have the same policy as it applies to students?
Certainly, we have our cell phone policy that limits students' use of their cell phones during the school day. We also have our internet and systems use agreement that students in K-8 have one user agreement that they sign along with their parents. High school students have a separate one that they sign. And there are provisions in each of these that would ensure that they're using the device appropriately, safely. And that would sanction behavior or allow for subsequent learning around digital citizenship for those that need it. In terms of confiscating a device, we typically we don't get into physical confrontation with students for devices. If a student had an intimate image on their device that a teacher became aware of and the student refused to give their device, we would follow the same procedure in terms of alerting the admin team at the school and then contacting parents, because obviously that student is at risk having such an image on their device, because any transmission could be viewed as a violation of the criminal code.
Yeah, I'm asking because I've been talking about this scenario for 10 years, and of course, at a teaching university. The worst case scenario with the students having the device, sharing images with a bunch of other students, the teacher trying to compensate the phone because they recognize that it's a commission. So I just want to make sure that, you know, there's some way of policy that how we protect the teachers when they find themselves in that situation.
The teacher would protect themselves by seeking assistance from their school who are familiar with Section 8 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms around seizure, search and seizure, and it's reasonable.
Any other questions on this item? All right, that takes us to section 9, which is correspondence. You will see some correspondence from Manitoba Education and Childhood Learning, the Education Funding Branch, related to some air pump work at HS Paul School, and from the Manitoba School Boards Association, which includes the most recent e-bulletin, which is also available on their website. And so we will receive that correspondence. Item number 10 is action items. The first one is revision to procedural bylaws. These changes come out of recent motions passed by the board related to the addition of question period at the beginning of our meetings, and also some changes to the content of the public facing agenda. And so the recommendation here is that pursuant to the procedural bylaws of the Louisville School Division, unanimous consent of trustees in attendance, the bylaw be given first, second, and third reading at the same meeting, and that the procedural bylaws of the LRSD Board of Trustees be amended as received. I need a mover and seconder for this, please. Trustee Turner, second. Trustee Sigurdsson, any questions on the motion?
Chair.
Yes, I'm sorry.
If I could add two additional changes that are included in the procedural bylaws.
Of course.
One relates to the situation where a trustee misses 3 regular or special meetings within an annual cycle.
Yep.
That would see the trustee's stipend reduced by for each additional absence.
Yep.
And also an addition was made to streamline verified virtual attendance, whereby individuals who attend an in-person regular meeting or a special meeting of the board and present their idea as part of that process would automatically gain status as a verified virtual attendee as well.
Thank you for catching that, and I apologize for the omission. So we have a mover and seconder. Was there any discussion? Trustee Turner?
I do have one thing. Why does it say unanimous consent of the trustees in attendance? No other motion has unanimous consent in it.
I can speak to that, Chair.
Sure.
It's because in order to make changes to the procedural bylaws in a single meeting, it needs to have unanimous consent. Otherwise, there needs to be notice of motion at one meeting and then the motion voted on second meeting. We felt, however, that since notice of motion occurred for these topics already at prior meetings, that we could dispense with going notice of motion and then vote it on it.
So what happens if it's not unanimous?
If it's not unanimous, then it would have to go back to a 2-meeting process.
Okay.
Trustee Walker?
So I think there's a typo on page 12. The sentence says the agenda must be approved every meeting by the majority of the trustees present. After the meeting is begun, only a motion approved by the majority of the trustees present can see items added to the agenda. It's a 2.
Thank you. All right, any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Trustee Palmquist, we need your vote.
Got it.
Oh, got it. Okay, and the motion is carried. Thank you very much. We now come to a series of ratification votes related to negotiations with our locals. And we're gonna do these one by one. So I'm just going to first ask through the superintendent for our secretary treasurer just to provide some context.
So the context will be for all 3.
Yep.
So following a series of negotiations, the division has reached a tentative agreement in committee with the following groups: QP Local 4642, custodial maintenance bus drivers. This tentative agreement will meet on March 13th, 2026. For QP Local 4642, clerical technical employees, we reached a tentative agreement on March 13th, 2026. And for QP Local 3473, our educational assistants, we reached a tentative agreement on March 18th, 2026. If the tentative agreement is approved by the Board of Trustees, the next step in the process is that each QP group will hold a ratification vote with its member. So that is the context for these motions today.
So then the first one is that the board approved the agreement reached in committee on March 13th, 2026 with QP Local 4642, representing clerical technical employees subject to successful ratification by QP Local 4642 membership. I need to convert a seconder, please. Moved by trustee Bjornson, second by trustee Walker. All those in, sorry, I'll say there's really no discussion to be had here because we can't. This is still unratified at this point, so we are just agreeing as a board to ratify, and then contents of the agreement will be made public to the extent that it can once ratified by both sides. So all those in favor? Anyone opposed?
We're good.
That motion is carried. Thank you. The next one is that the board approved the agreement reached in committee on March 13th, 2026 with Local 4642 representing custodial maintenance bus driver employees subject to successful ratification by QP Local 4642 membership. We're in a seconder, please. Trustee Walker, thank you. Trustee Turner, second. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that is carried as well. And finally, that the board approved the agreement reached in committee on March 18th, 2026 with Local 3473, which represents educational assistance subject to successful ratification by QP Local 3473 membership. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Trustee Walker, second. Trustee Bjornson, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is also carried. Thank you very much. I just lost my whole agenda. So we've arrived at public question period. Those of you in attendance, either online or in person, are welcome to ask questions for clarification about items that were on the agenda. I'm just going to check in with anybody online first. Although if they're always come back, if somebody has a question. Not seeing anything?
Nothing right.
Okay. Does anybody in the room need anything clarified? Would you mind?
A couple questions.
Yeah, would you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, my name's Don Reedman.
Okay, hi Don.
You were talking about the injuries to students or other people walking. I don't know if it's ever happened, but if, say, one school has more issues in a certain area, what is done? Like, I mean, you can talk about all you want, but if you don't send somebody to fix the problem, it's still gonna happen. So I'm just curious on what happens if that ever happened.
Sure. No, go ahead.
So with respect to any reported accident, we investigate. And we get to the bottom of what's occurred. And you see that there's perspective to be had, right? Not all incidents are of the same nature. And we learn from what's happened and try to mitigate any risks.
Do you send like a notice out to other schools saying this was a situation, this is what we've done to fix the problem, so to speak?
Well, most importantly, we work with the school and we work with the families and we work with staff and students to resolve the matter where it's occurred. And if there are system-wide lessons to be learned, absolutely we should.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah. Are you done, sir?
I just have one more.
Oh, go ahead.
Or, sorry, the trustees, if they don't show up, after 3 meetings, this is gonna go to you again, but what happens if the senior staff doesn't show up? Not saying it never happened, I'm just curious. Sorry.
Well, now we're talking about an HR related matter, right? We're talking about a staffing matter.
So then you would deal with it in the head office type thing? Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Yep.
Just a few questions regarding the Bruns update. So just so I can clarify mine, December 2022, LRSD unveiled to community the drawings for the Bruns expansion project. It was designed by Number 10 Architectural Group and the cost was at the time roughly around $22 million. So I guess question one, has there been any material changes to the Bruns drawings from what was presented to the community back in 2022? Number two, what is the current capital ask for this project? Keeping in mind it originally was at 22 million. And then I'm just noticing from this evening's presentation that LRSD is now partnering with LM Architectural Group. So we had Number 10 Architectural Group back in 2022 present drawings. There was community presentations. I guess my question is, what was the cost of those original drawings? And is that now a sunk cost because we are, for lack of a better word, in bed with another vendor?
Okay, so that initial design was a conceptual design. I don't have the cost memorized. But they're public. The reporting is actually on the website. And so, get that for you if it's not all available to you. So that conceptual design has led to now the province, moving to design that is going to be a design that can lead to actual construction. And so that is how design works. You will start with a conceptual design, and then eventually you have that design move to something that actually you can tender for construction. And that's where we're now at. A design that is provincially approved, provincially funded, and we're moving through that design. So I can't speak to ultimately what that will cost when we are ready for the bids to build.
And I appreciate that. I guess what's concerning to me as a taxpayer is there was money spent with one design firm to, as you say, the conceptual drawings. It was big splashy design with us, evenings that was presented and promised to community. This is what the future of Bruns will look like. It was costed at $22 million, and I accept the fact that inflation and our world has gone upside down, and it's considerably more. So help me understand why the division would advertise drawings for a project that had not been, and move a population over prior to the project being funded and built, and now we're engaging with a completely different design firm. Is that because the province, I'm presuming they have their own?
That's because you bid on, because to your point, these are all public dollars. So we bid every time we move from one leg of the journey to the other. And so we are now at a different leg of the journey in terms of design process. So we bid again, and we continue to deepen the design. Nothing's lost, nothing's wasted. And as I've shared in public meetings in the past, the design we're now refining is actually more square footage than what we'd asked. All of it now on the province's end.
So you're suggesting that the original designs were used as a launch pad for the ones that are currently
That's how design works.
okay, so they have
Always.
not been all scrapped,
Nope.
but they've been bought and paid for, and we're moving from that. Can you just give me an estimate roughly?
No. I
30
can't.
million, 40 million, because I obviously there's a capital ask that has been, a rough capital ask that's been submitted.
No, at this stage, I really have to be very careful. The province has approved design that will be tender ready, and we're now working with the province.
Thank you.
Any other question, Ina?
Just one
Oh, no.
with that. So it took the concept, whatever, design,
Conceptual design.
yeah, to get it, it went to you guys and the province, and it took 3 years to get to this stage. Is that what you're saying?
You know how many?
Yes, projects take
No, I
many
know
years
how
to
the
get
government
to, but yes, project
Okay.
in general take time to,
No, I understand that.
yeah.
I'm just looking at it as a taxpayer as well. I know how the government works. I was in the military. Trust me, I know how they work. Whether I liked it or not, that's just the way it works.
Yeah, and we're a level of government as well, right?
Yeah,
We're a
so-
public system.
You have a system to do. But is there a point where it extends too long? Provincial government changes? Now does that all change with it?
Well, I can't divine the future in terms of where politics is taking us. All I know is, and all we do is provide what we know about the future in an informed way. And what we know is that we're a growing community. We've slowed down slightly right now. The whole of the country has slowed down, given the situations we're in, political, economic, global in nature. But Canada's future depends on growing again, and we will grow again. And the southeast quadrant of our school community is where all that growth is happening. And we've already grown enough in the elementary grades that we know these expansions in high schools are needed, and the provincial government knows that as well, which is why the project is moving ahead.
Any other questions before I adjourn? Yes.
Just a question on the new school for the 500K playground. I know other divisions like Winnipeg School Division, they've really taken a look at the equity and fundraising. And I think under the leadership of Matt Henderson, they've put some tight parameters around what schools can and cannot fundraise in the name of equity. And I know I've written to the board about that in the past, and I don't know if there's further conversations. But my question is this, has this board in next year's, I've done a lot of personal fundraising for nonprofit groups in recent years, and to chase $500,000 is astronomical. So, and I know that Councillor Brian Mays recently has been lobbying to work with the division, the city, the school divisions to try and make this easier. Is this division truly asking this parent group, or I'm going to say community group, to raise $500,000 to fund that play structure? Or is there plans in the works for this division? Is it perhaps built in next year's budget that there's going to be a component? Because I personally just think it's an inequitable ask.
So I would say, I mean, next year's budget conversation will happen next year. And it's
Okay, but
certainly,
there's one here.
there's
been
nothing in the
set aside for
26,
that.
27 at all. And
Thank
we are very aware of their lofty ambitions, and we are very grateful for the MLAs and Councillor Mays who are, working hard to support them. And we will do the same to the extent that we can. So.
And we have a history of that.
Yeah.
So what I want to add is that we have, for many years now, partnered with other governments, partnered with private individuals to support many infrastructure projects across the school division, to see these outdoor spaces built. And so we could, again, I'll point you to the website where we actually celebrate those partnerships and those investments in high schools and elementary schools. And it's all about equity. Our multi-year strategic plan is all about addressing inequity and looking for a more just future.
Any questions from our friends from LRTA? All good. All right. Then we are adjourned at 7:43. Trustees need to stay behind for a little bit, but by all means, let's take a 5-minute break. Thanks, folks, for joining.